Alright, let's look at another post in the Korean Eternity section. So this one's walking into Unreal, Tara's construction. In the early stages of the move, we prioritized concerns like how can we implement the unique sensibility of Mabinogi in Unreal Engine. Just when we thought we could catch our breath after achieving small but meaningful results, we were immediately faced with the mission to rebuild a massive amount of buildings that had been produced over 20 years ago. Really, we got stuck in a swamp of production that seemed to have no end. The workload was overwhelming, but because each building had its own unique theme and identity, we had no choice but to personally create each one with great care. So here we can see some of the buildings in Dumbarton. There were buildings with elaborate patterns all over the city, and the problem was that there was really a lot of them. So modularize it. So that's how the modularization process started. Fortunately, Tara was a city with standardized designs, so it was possible to plan the separation and reorganization of buildings. Thanks to this, we were able to plan an efficient work process, and the background team was able to get one step closer to completing the reconstruction mission. What is modularization? Modularization is a game production method that divides various elements that make up a 3D environment into small reusable units, or modules, and combines these into various configurations to create environments or structures. Each module has a basic structure, and by placing or combining several of them, it is possible to create complex backgrounds. For example, by combining several types of wall sets and columns and stairs to fill in the gaps, you can create several buildings of various sizes. So this shows you like an example of what you can combine and how it can like make a building. So that looks really good. So I tried to generate an example of modularization using AI. It's similar but not exact. So yeah, it looks good, but it's not exactly like it should be for Mabinogi. So first gather buildings with the same theme, then figure out what can be used repeatedly for each building with that theme, and consider width, height, depth, design, features, etc. to plan how to divide them. Then start with a large classification and narrow it down to details. Then reverse assemble them to check if there are any things you missed during the division. It may look like it will be easy when you see the image, but since Mabinogi was not designed to be modular from the beginning, it is actually much more difficult than you might think. It seems complicated. Is there a reason for modularizing it to this extent? The first is efficiency. Since you can combine multiple modules to create various shapes, you can produce a variety of products while reducing repetitive work. You only need to work on one set of modules, and you can create multiple building combinations with it. The second is flexibility in design changes. Modification of one module automatically reflects everywhere that the module is used, so design changes can be applied in batches. In addition, the modular system is advantageous in applying various concept styles. For example, applying different concepts and colors to the same wall module can produce results with different moods. The third one helps with optimization. Many objects affect performance when rendered, Using modular backgrounds reduces redundant data and allows you to load and render some of them as needed, which helps optimize performance. You can improve performance by loading only modules needed in certain areas to minimize memory usage and dynamically loading modules according to the camera's view. And the fourth is reusability. Modular parts can be reused in completely different environments, allowing content creation while maintaining a consistent identity. The same modular structure of windows, doors, and building walls used in Tara can be applied to other towns in the future. Even if it cannot be used in the towns currently produced due to the concept implementation issues, it can be used as a foundation for new content that will be updated in the future, allowing for smoother world building. So here you can see what some of the buildings in Tara will look like in Unreal Engine. These are the Tara buildings that have actually been modularized. We are putting a lot of effort into making them efficient while maintaining quality. Can you imagine what the new Tara will look like? We are diligently continuing to accumulate architectural know-how so that we can simultaneously take advantage of the original identity of Mabinogi's background and the new environment called Unreal. In this way, Mabinogi's background is continuously being built and expanded with various attempts and considerations, so we ask for your interest and support. So yeah, this was a really good post. It's nice to see what some of these buildings will look like in Unreal Engine. So we'll be looking at another Korean Eternity post that came out on the Korean Eternity microsite. So this one's all about chairs and sitting. Suddenly the sitting position and posture change and the legs are buried in the chair. You can kind of see how the feet are buried in the chair there and how that doesn't look right. It's clipping through. And then when you stand up, I stand in the buried chair. Your character appears in the middle of it. So this is going to be about how to fix all that. Looking at the current state of Pleon Engine, there were issues with sitting down and standing movements. Suddenly the position changed and the awkward sight of the legs being buried in the chair was seen. So why does this happen? This is because each character has a different height and leg length, and size of the chair is also different. Development points for implementing natural sitting, so these are the things that they plan on adding to help your character sit better. Applying these 7 elements will result in much more natural movements. When you use the rest skill, you should be able to find a chair within a 5-meter radius and sit on it. When generating the navigation mesh, the area where the character can move, considering the character's maximum collision box size, there were cases where the chair was inaccessible. I explained the situation to the person in charge and adjusted the chair collision box to make the chair accessible. So there is a large height difference between a small character and a large character. So yeah, there is a height difference between humans, giants, elves, and whatever age that you have your character set at, because the age system is basically a height adjuster for your characters. This diversity allows us to create data assets that can be customized by race and age. So prepare to sit down. When sitting, the direction you look should be towards the chair, that is, the opposite direction you approached the chair. Even if you move to the sitting position using the route finder, there may be a slight error, so this position error is also corrected through interpolation. This process takes about 0.2 seconds to process naturally. And sit down. While playing the sitting motion, slowly adjust the position of your hips to the sitting position of the chair. In the Pleon engine, there was a phenomenon of bouncing when adjusting the height before sitting down. But this was improved by adding additional processing to move to the target position through interpolation during the animation. For the same reason as the starting sitting position, small characters are set to sit in front of the chair, and large characters are set to sit inside the chair. This can also be adjusted by race and age in data asset. So we can see that example down here. You can see a small human character, and you can see that when she's sitting on the chair, she's sitting more towards the front of the chair. And we have a taller giant character, and when they sit down, like they're further back on the chair, it looks like. So you can see how this already looks a lot better than it currently does in our current version of Mabinogi. Although those plants are kind of clipping through the bench. But this is just a test, so I'm sure they'll iron that out. And this was posted by Chair King, so cool avatar. But yeah, this is all about like chairs and like sitting and how all those physics work. So there are finally some new posts on the Korean Eternity section, and we're going to be taking a look at some of them. So we're going to start with this one. I think Mabinogi is a game that requires you to check a lot of things on the screen often. There are many reasons for this. The inventory is unique and the number of skills is just too numerous. However, before focusing on the UI on the screen, I focused on the most basic screen. This has been a frequent topic among relatively new players in the development lab. So I compared it to recent games and considered how I could make Mabinogi's screen more pleasant. So this is all about like field of view and how we can make the screen for Mabinogi better. So here you can see 3 different images of the field of view. So right here they're zoomed in to the back of their character. And then here they're zoomed out a little bit more, and you can see a little bit more behind them and in front of them. And then here they're like zoomed way out, and you have a good view of Dumbarton. The field of view refers to the field of view on the game screen. This will likely be familiar to those who enjoy taking photos. So if the angle of view is low, the range visible on the screen is narrow. The higher the angle of view, the wider the range visible on the screen. To make it easier to understand, let's look at some in-game example images. So they do have some example images here, and also some example videos, but these videos are taking a long time to load, probably because I'm a North American player and this is on the Korean website. But I have 2 of them loaded up, we'll take a look at those. So here's the first video, and you can see that they're zoomed into the front of their character. And you can see a lot of Dumbarton from here, so a few things have been moved around. You'll notice that the staircase to the town office is a little different, and there's a big staircase going directly up to the magic school now. And also the mailbox is over here instead of over here. So a few small changes to make Dumbarton feel better. But overall it still looks the same. let's take a look at this. So here you can see them zooming out and zooming in and zooming out. Gives you kind of an example of what it's going to be like and how smooth it is. And for the next video, they're actually going to run down this street of Dumbarton. So this is what it looks like when a new player is entering Dumbarton in Unreal Engine. So yeah, all these videos here are pretty much the same. If you look at the images and videos, you will be able to feel the difference between narrow and wide angles at a glance. So yeah, these are pretty cool. Currently, the live-action version of Mabinogi features a 45-degree field of view. Considering the average monitor size when Mabinogi was first developed, this isn't a particularly unusual figure. However, the problem is that over 20 years have passed. The monitor sizes used by militians have also increased, and the amount of content on systems in-game has significantly increased, resulting in a massive increase in what you can see on the screen. So yeah, that's definitely true. I play Mabinogi with a 24.5-inch monitor because that's what works best for me, but Mabinogi sometimes has trouble on like really big monitors. You'll have to mess with the settings a lot to get it to work right. So first, this narrow field of view needed to be broadened to fit the modern game. However, it'd be problematic if the difference from the screen you're accustomed to while playing was so great that it felt out of place. So yeah, this is pretty tricky. You do have to make like little adjustments like this to make Mabinogi more modern. So yeah, there are these two videos here as well, and I would play them if they weren't loading so slowly, but you can come to the Korean Eternity section and load up these videos, or try and download them. It might take a little while, but you can see them that way. I've tried setting different minimum and maximum angles to ensure a natural change when zooming in and out with the mouse scroll. A closer look reveals that objects in the distance move slightly differently when zoomed in and zoomed out. As I adjusted the angle of view like this, I realized there were more things to consider than simply fixing it to one number. So this is actually a room in Albi Dungeon in Tirnanog. There's also some posts about how they're redoing the boss room and a couple other rooms in Tirnanog completely. I need both a distant view and a closer view for a clearer view of the character, and these two perspectives had to be properly differentiated. At the same time, I had to be careful not to accidentally switch perspectives. If you accidentally scroll in the middle of a hunt and get pulled into a character, you'll be in big trouble. Yeah, that would be bad. And here we can actually get a cool view of Tirnanog. I actually downloaded this video, which you can do by clicking right here and selecting download. So we don't need to wait for that one to load up. Let's pull that up next. Okay, so here's the video of Tirnanog, which actually looks pretty cool. So you can see the fence here, you can see the torches. I like how the fire is blue instead of orange. Like, that looks really cool. It would be awesome to have like a Halloween event here. Like, this looks really good. And here they're zooming in a bit. And here they're zooming out a lot, so you can see how some of the fence here is destroyed. And it looks like there's a wolf or maybe a warg like right out here. So this is just like off to the side of the bank. So yeah, this post has a lot of information about the field of view in Mabinogi and how they're going to make it work with like bigger monitors and stuff. So this is definitely worth checking out. You can come to the Korean Eternity site using Chrome and it'll translate all this so you can read it more or less. So let's look at a few more posts in the Eternity section on the Korean Mabinogi website. So we have a few new posts here. There are two videos that we're going to look at. We're going to look at this video and this video. And here we can see some of the NPCs from Bangor. And here we can see Shattering Windmill. So this is what it looks like in Pleon Engine. And this is what it's going to look like in Unreal for Elemental Knight, the Shattering Windmill skill. So Shattering Windmill looks pretty good. I like the new look for sheeps too. And then we have this video here. So on the left side, they're doing like the tailoring skill. And on the right side, they're doing something with a mannequin. And that also looks like it involves using the tailoring skill, because you can see the tailoring skill icon above her head. And here we have a picture of what the dragon ruins just outside of Bangor will look like in Unreal. Like, here's the dragon ruins. And here are the buildings surrounding it. So this looks really good. I like how you can see all the mountains and stuff off to the side. I'm not sure what that is. It almost looks like a tent or something. Maybe it's just a weird shaped rock. So I'm wondering like what's going on up there. The ground is also pretty flat up there, so maybe there'll be new areas to move on. That'd be kind of cool. But it kind of looks like one of these wooden structures that are kind of around the dragon ruins. So that might be what I'm seeing like over here. Let's take a look at another Korean Eternity post. So this one's all about like face shape and all that stuff. So we had to make everything compatible with the existing live data, including hair, facial expressions, including eyes and mouth, and facial decorations. And this is what the current basic face looks like. And then down here, a wide face shape that cannot be escaped with pretty hair. So you can see that it still has the same wide face look as this one, but it's a little bit less noticeable because of the long hair. But the wide face shape is still a problem. That's what they're trying to show there. And Eternity basic face shape created based on the live basic face shape. So that's what this is. Even if you increase the number of polygons and touch up the bridge of the nose, is absolutely impossible to create a beautiful face based on the basic face shape. The default face is literally the first thing the user sees. It's the game's first impression. So the face shape created in this way is as follows. So human female character basic face shape created based on a face shape with a high nose. So this is what the faces currently look like. And this is what they have in Unreal so far. And this is a screen under development, and the final image may differ, but this will give you a good example of what things will look like. So this is Pleon Engine, and this is Unreal Engine. And you can see like the difference in the improvements in like the face for the character. Some people may not like the changed look, while others may like the changed look. Can we create graphics that will satisfy everyone? The short answer to that is no. There will probably be players that will like it and not like it. There's always going to be players that are going to disagree and not like the graphical change. But I think they're doing a good job keeping the graphic style as close to a Mabinogi graphic style as possible. What fits the feel of our game? What should we keep and what should we change? So I'm glad they're thinking about all this stuff, because it's impossible to satisfy everyone, to make every player happy with the changes. But I think they're doing a good job making sure that Mabinogi keeps its unique anime look without drastically changing. Alright, let's work on Mabinogi today. So we're gonna do the veteran dungeon and like one tech mission that's not gonna take very long. And also gonna do some Baltaine missions. Probably gonna do the Baltaine stuff first. Maybe we'll do a shadow mission first. I gotta get my level up just a little bit. Let's change channels real fast so I can get new shadow missions. That's the one I completed like yesterday, so I need to get new ones. Well, let's do spirit weapon real quick. Before I forget, I need to do some spirit weapon work. Okay, so we can level her up tomorrow. Do we have any gems? Perfect. And let's use this. So I'm gonna get 3 passes for Nowhere to Run. And I have my Baltaine crystals. Oh, these actually expire in like a minute, so I have to use these now. Okay, we can do that. So now Forbidden Alchemist is level 46. I think today I can get it to at least 47. Lingering Darkness, I'm not doing that. Let's just do like Shadowcast City or something really fast to get a few levels. I think that'll be perfectly fine. Oh good, and these outpasses still haven't expired yet. Okay, this should push us to around level 60, and then we can do Nowhere to Run. And level 59. I should get a shadow crystal from this, I'm thinking. Yeah, let's do that. Pull that over here. Won't use a shadow crystal this time. Alright, let's go to Avalon Gate. I have 13 days to use the Spirit Stone. I think I'll use this tomorrow. Like, I want to take up my Spirit Weapon 1 level. I'll have her bond maxed out tomorrow, and it'll be easy to take her to the next level, then I'll use that right after. Okay, Rebirth Pot. And then we'll get like a Forgetful Potion from this. And where's the XP potion? There you are. That's what I want for the Baltane mission. Let's get the bunny doll bag out. The zombies drop a lot of gems, so we're gonna want to pick those up. Alright, let's get to level 200. Baltane mission, nowhere to run. Elite. There's my pass. Use that pet buff to get more movement speed and a little bit more XP stacked on top. Oh, and let's use that. Perfect. Now we're just gonna spam Fireball and level up really fast. Okay, so let's see. Let's gather the remaining gems and get out of here. I think that's about everything. And then... oh, we have 2 of those spirit stones. Nice. How many did it give me? I thought it only gave me 1. I think just 2. So next we'll use the rebirth potion. And let's get out of here. And do rebirth. Then we'll do Battle for Tailton 2. To get back up to level 60. And let's use that shadow crystal that I got. Let's see if I can remember. Actually, I don't need to remember all the ice mines are. We can use Demigod. I don't want to waste too much time. I can pretty much memorize where most of the ice mines are in this level. Come on, aren't you picking up that gold? And time for the boss. Oh, that wasn't enough. I thought that crystal would be enough. But not quite. I guess I can run it again. Hang on, how many do I have? 22 nightmare crystals? I'll take one. I save these up, I don't really use them too often since I don't have many left. Oh, they're there. Here we go. Got a couple of XP pots over here. And once again, we're going to do another Baltane mission. Alright, well, it looks like we're not getting any more XP here, so that means we can leave. But let's get all the gems on the ground before we head out. There's still a couple out here. Alright, let's exit. So, level 48. 2 more levels to go for Forbidden Alchemist. And I'll run a Beltane mission on tomorrow or Friday, because we have a Forgetful Potion, and oh wait a minute, that lasts 13 days. Maybe I should even just wait until like next week or whatever. Get another one of those. Well, wait, will I even get a 5 times XP potion next week? Oh, yeah. I don't know. I'll think it over. Think of something. Alright, let's get out of here. Let's go find out what the veteran dungeon is today. Oh, and let's feed the spear. The spear can have all this. Off to Dumbarton. Okay, Fiat dungeon. Let's go ahead and switch to Arsenal Gunner. Oh, I didn't get any of the links done on Elemental Knight. I only have all the links on Dark Diviner and Arsenal Gunner. Well, and Harmonic Saint too, but that was from the Arcana event thing that takes one of the older ones to max level. I didn't unlock these links myself, not really. Maybe I should equip Stardust. I never really do. I should actually get around to leveling up Stardust. Maybe that's something I'll look into doing. After all, I do have an excuse. It's not like I'm working on Arcana stuff right now. We'll see. Not this week, that's for sure. Probably not next week either. Okay, drop that. And let's go ahead and clear this. I'm wondering if they'll ever make, like, appearance change cards for the Arsenal Gunner skills. They'll, like, change the way some of the Arsenal Gunners, like, guns look. I think that'd be pretty cool if they did that. Pull that down a little bit lower, come on. Right there. And time for the boss. So I think this one's a golem. Yeah, and some swords. Get some of these swords out of here. They're just in the way. I think that's good enough. Alright, let's use Meteor. Then Time Shift, and then Meteor 5 more times. Whoops. I meant to freeze him with that frost dragon. Got him. And now one more flying sword enemy. "22 minutes and 7 seconds. Would have been a little bit faster if I didn't go down that long, twisty road that led to a dead end. Probably wasted a good 2 minutes that way. Alright, that's done. And the new commerce season is beginning pretty soon too, I think, like... Isn't that beginning... This one's ending on... the 5th? So the new one starts up tomorrow or something? Oh, I have some unclaimed rewards. I should get these. Oops, there we go. But yeah, when commerce comes back for the new season, I am going to be doing a lot more commerce-focused streams. For now, I think that's good, though. So we're gonna wrap up the stream right around here, but before we completely end things, I want to check out the official site and see if there's any new posts, because it's Tuesday, and sometimes new information is released on like Tuesdays or Wednesdays. I'm not expecting a whole lot to be going on this week, though. So it looks like we have 3 posts. We have the maintenance post right here. Just a very typical 3-hour maintenance. The Sweet White Day event. Oh, I might want to get that homestead item for my non-streaming character. I collect a lot of, like, food-related homestead props for that character's homestead, so I'll probably go after that. I have no interest in the puppy thing. I'm more of a cat person, so no real interest in that. And then a bracelet. Okay, so very small event, not a whole lot going on. I'll probably go after both the chair and the homestead item version of the chair. I'm assuming I'll get enough coins to get both of them. But I'm more after the homestead chair than anything else, so I can add it to one of my characters' homesteads. And then end of sale and changes to extra equipment slot coupon. So we are announcing the end of sale for the extra equipment slot coupon 30 days item. The sale of this item will be discontinued 1 week prior to the next update. So, end of sale date will be March 12th next week. Update details. With our next update in March, the extra equipment slot coupon for 30 days will no longer have a functional use. After the maintenance on Thursday, March 19th, extra equipment slots will be free to use without requiring the use of the extra equipment slot coupon or VIP service to extend the extra equipment slot duration. Additionally, extra equipment slots always accessible benefit will be removed from the following VIP packages. Okay, so this is just becoming free for everyone then. Yeah, that's good. A new benefit will be added in its place during the March update. VIP service days already purchased or in use will continue to be valid, as the new benefit will be available on March 19th. They're not going to tell us what that new benefit is going to be. The extra equipment slot coupon 30 days cannot be used, and this item will be retrieved from all characters during the March update. If the item is received from the Militian Welcome Errand Settlement package after March 19th, it will be unavailable for use. Compensation details. Further details regarding compensation will be shared at a later date, so like probably compensation like if you like buy one before the sale stops. Okay. Overall, I think this is a pretty good update. And with that, we'll wrap up the live stream right around here. So we will continue working on Mabinogi more tomorrow.